Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, folks at home, to another exciting episode of Jamin's Daily, brought to you by your handsome host, Jamin. Here I am in the flesh, and we got an amazing guest once again, Seth Caylor.
Woo! Back again.
My favorite brother-in-law. Okay.
These are getting more and more fun as we go along, so hope you're enjoying these too, as much as I am.
Yeah, every review that we do, I feel as though perhaps we're getting better and better.
Yeah, we're getting a rhythm here.
A dream would be, my dream, Seth.
Okay.
Is nonstop reviews. Because we're so good at it. I just want to watch old movies for the rest of my life. If I can watch like 3 or 4 old movies, do a podcast on them, and get paid for it.
There you go.
I mean, that's the dream.
Let's do it.
That's the dream. We're trying to find our niche. If you don't know, folks, if you're new to Jamin's Daily, you're truly into the variety.
That's correct.
Because we haven't picked a direction.
Done pop culture. We've done news. You've done your daily stuff on your drives to work. That stuff's great too, man.
We're doing we're
interviews with family.
I tell you this, interviews are hard to come by. It's hard. Everybody says they want to be on a podcast, but nobody has time to then come on the podcast. But we're gonna find some guests, and we're gonna keep strumming along. We're in the 40s when it comes to episodes, so we're trying to hit 50. So to start the YouTube channel, and just keep it going. But we watched a movie called Puppet Master. And this one, unlike the other movies that we've reviewed, which I watched for free on Samsung TV.
Oh, yeah.
I watched Puppet Master on Netflix.
Oh. And
Netflix doesn't have a large variety of 80s horror films, if you ask me.
Yeah.
They just don't. No. They don't. But Puppet Master was on there, and it was just barely. It's 1989, so it just barely made it in the decade.
So, real quick, what strikes me funny about that? The first two that we did, Forbidden World and Evil Dead,
yes,
they all went to the movie theater, and they ended up on free Samsung TV.
Yes.
Puppet Master was a straight-to-video.
Really?
It didn't even go out in the theaters. Yep. 1989, October 12th. Direct-to-video.
Direct-to-video. VHS, right?
Yeah.
Or was it Beta?
No, yeah, back then.
Was it Betamax?
No, Beta had already gone.
Beta
the
already
way
came
of the Dodo by then.
Dodo, but the VHS, right?
Yeah. They so let me give you a little rundown here. But it is the first in the Puppet Master franchise.
Oh, so they turned it into a franchise.
They sure did. Stars Paul LeMat, Irene Miracle, Matt Rice, and Catherine O'Reilly as psychics who are plotted against by a former colleague using puppets animated by an Egyptian spell. Originally intended for theatrical release in the summer of 1989. Before being released on home video, though, it was ultimately pushed to direct-to-video, released October 12th, 1989, as Charles Band felt he was more likely to make money this way than he would in the theatrical market.
Whoa, you're like 3 seconds behind on this video.
Oh, man. No. Okay.
You know what I learned happened? What's going on this OBS? Is, and it's told me once, it's given me a... It's from this camera, because I'm good. I'm good. It's the feed from the camera, and with this OBS, it's almost like the RAM or the capability. The longer you've used it and you use it more and more, it starts to overload or something. I don't know the technical terms.
We'll keep the camera on you then.
But we'll keep the camera on me as much as possible. It gets better. I feel like if maybe because it starts to refresh or something later within the film, it catches up. Remember when we paused it last time?
Yes.
And then brought it in?
Yeah.
I feel like it has some way of kind of catching up.
Well, that's why we need our faithful listeners to start to, eventually get a Parthenon. What is it called? A
Pantheon. Patreon.
Yes, so that we can buy better equipment, so that I'm not 3 seconds behind.
Yes, I completely agree, dude. When we start the YouTube channel, we're definitely going to have a membership. People can sign up. Yeah. They can donate.
Get gyms like this.
We're going to do it's going to pay for itself. Yeah. We're going to recoup it. No doubt.
It does say that the film was very popular in the video market, though, since it developed a large cult following that has led to the production of 12 sequels.
12 sequels, Seth. That is insane. So that's like rivals the Friday the 13th.
Star Wars only has 9, right?
12. Well, once you find a formula, they're like, okay,
stick with it.
You stick with it. So we can make this movie for this amount. And we already have a following. We made 10 other ones, so we know we're gonna make this amount.
All right. So the best of your recollection. Kick us off here.
Best of my recollection. You know what?
Start us off.
I'm gonna get to the start of this movie.
Okay.
Right after we take a break for technical difficulties.
Sounds good.
We're gonna see if by cutting back it comes up because people want to see you, Seth.
Yeah. Okay.
You are well liked.
All right.
Look at his face. Look at this face. Wouldn't you want to see this guy talking? Very nice. When we get back, folks, give us a break. One moment.
Master.
We're back, folks. We're going to check to see if when Seth talks, maybe he won't be in the Matrix. So let's try it.
So, apparently, and you're going to kick us off. You're going to tell us everything you remember about this movie. But it starts off in 1939, apparently. It's like a flashback kind of thing?
Yes, and audio AV's working
better. All right.
So it does. It shows a hotel on a cliff on the West Coast.
Bodega Bay, California.
Yes. And it shows this old man, white hair.
Okay.
And he's playing and painting a puppet. Right? He's working on a puppet, cleaning it, I guess, painting it. It's all these puppets. And he starts... He's deciding that he needs to hide them.
Yes.
Okay? He's sensing something that people are after him. And he's kind of talking to the puppets while he's doing this.
His puppet's name is Jester, too.
Jester?
Jester. In case they never mention it in the movie, apparently they mention it.
They don't say it much at all, but there's a couple of... In the later, within the movie, there's really only like 3 or 4 puppets that continue to make the scene.
There we go. Okay.
And
so he hides them, but because someone's coming?
He's hiding them because, somebody's looking for him.
All right.
Okay. And the people who are looking for them, it's a very dramatic scene. They're dressed in like black trench coats. They look like 1930s gangsters, okay? And they're walking in unison. They're on their way over there. And he hides them in like this false wall. He puts them all in this false wall that he can take off and put on.
Gotcha. These guys are actually Nazi spies.
Nazi spies?
That's what this says.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know how you would know that in the movie.
There's no way. I don't think there was any kind of indication that these would... You know what? The only thing... You know what could? Is their firearm.
Because they have the Luger pistol.
And it had a slide. It wasn't a revolver. Yes. So it was a German-made, or at least a European-type pistol, so they weren't Americans.
Yeah.
But there would be no other way to know either, because I'm trying to remember if did they talk to each other in the film?
I don't know. Did they just mention, maybe this is just in the show notes, like... Yeah. But it does say that they are Nazi spies. And this is a Luger pistol, and I think it's... Nowadays, it's known as, like, the German...
Yes.
The thin barrel.
Thin barrel.
Yeah. Yep. So...
That's what they have.
That always gives those Nazis away.
And so...
sorry.
Remember... since we were on the movie hour, remember in Indiana Jones, he shoots one of these and it goes through like 3 guys?
Right, yes, exactly.
Movie magic, folks. Movie magic.
So he hides the puppets in the wall.
He hides the puppets in the wall. When they get there, as soon as they're walking in, he has his own pistol and he shoots himself. Commits suicide.
Really?
Yes, so he kills himself. They walk in and the scene ends with the 2 Germans in there, and it flashes to the present.
Yes, 1989.
1989. And in the present, I'm trying to think what scene it goes to. I think it goes to... Give me a...
It says 4 psychics miles apart are all contacted by Neil Gallagher, and all 5 of them, they were previous acquaintances. Professor Alex Whitaker, through a nightmare, is involved with Neil and leeches.
You know what happens? Happens the next scene after the... And this guy's the puppet master who kills himself is named Tulum.
Yes, Andre Tulum.
Andre Tulum. And the next scene is of the actor's real name is Lamat.
Yes, Paul Lamat.
Paul Lamat
as Alex Whitaker.
So Alex Whitaker is a professor at Yale. And so it shows him in his office, and he's dreaming of these leeches. He has this dream of these leeches on his belly, and then he wakes up from it. And then there's another scene of one of the other psychics.
There's Dana Hadley,
and
Neil Gallagher, Megan Gallagher, and Frank Forrester.
Okay, Neil and Megan
and Carissa. Carissa Stanford.
No, Carissa is with one of the other guys.
Okay,
they're together.
All right.
They're together. The other lady, not Carissa, the other lady.
Dana. Hadley.
Yeah, she's kind of a firecracker, and she's a spiritual person. Like in the movie, it shows her like using.
Describes her as a small-time fairground psychic, specializing in fortune telling and locating missing objects.
Yeah, so in that scene, it's kind of they. After, again, the puppet master is dead, it shows Alex. Then it shows Dana. Like, it shows a scene of each one of them in their element.
Yes.
So with Alex, his psychic power is dreams. Right?
Correct.
He sees things in dreams.
Dreams of things yet to come.
Dana is just kind of your run-of-the-mill psychic. And so she was doing... One of her scenes is she's at a fair doing a crystal ball thing for these 2 kids. And she goes all psycho, right? And then there's
Neil and Megan Gallagher.
And
then there's Frank Forrester, a psychic researcher from the Pensa Research, partner to Carissa.
Yeah, Frank and Carissa are together. There's a scene where they're working on the researching, this telepathic kind of, different kind of technology, right? So then they get together. Like you said, in the past, they worked.
Yes, they were all connected in some way.
They're all connected in some way. You find out later within the movie. But they all get together because they get an invitation from the widow of one of their former colleagues. And that's what takes them back to this hotel.
Okay.
And I'm trying to recall what the former colleague's name was, who they all despised.
Was it Neil, the main antagonist in the film?
Yeah, Neil.
He's.
You kept bringing up Neil, but
and Neil's wife Megan, her parents own the Bodega Bay place.
That's right.
There you go.
So Neil, I don't know exactly how it comes across Megan, but then they get together. He marries her for her money. That's what Dana alleges later on in the movie. But one of the reasons we all believe, or what you find out, is because somehow Neil knows that these puppets, or the puppet mat, is in this building. And he comes across it because, you know what's going on? They're doing renovations within the hotel.
On the wall.
And that's, he comes, they find out that he comes across it. Okay?
See.
So they're all there because allegedly, he's dead. And now Megan, his widow, has asked them to come back.
Okay.
So they're there. There's a scene where they all visit his coffin, and he's laying there. They haven't buried him yet. One of the deals Megan says is that he didn't want to be buried until these people arrive. Okay? So at this time, you see, Seth, one of the puppets is alive and roaming around. And you get a lot of the first person angled from a puppet. So very low angle.
So quick point, though, that I just read about. when they're looking at him in his casket, Dana stabs a pin into him to make sure that he's dead too, right?
Yes, she does do this. Okay. And he doesn't move. He doesn't flinch. And she's like, yeah, he's definitely dead. And there's this common scene of a puppet running within the scene, going from here to there.
Nice.
Making its way within the hotel. And so after they see... they view the guy in the casket. They all go into their rooms. I guess they go into their rooms, and they're gonna get ready, come back for dinner. Okay. So they sit there and they're sitting at dinner, and this is where Dana tells Megan how what's the antagonist's name?
Neil
was this big butthole. They didn't like him. He probably married you for his money. Megan gets upset and leaves. The other host are like, I can't believe you did this.
Yeah.
And then it goes back into, but it's setting the scene that Neil is not who we think he is, right? Something's coming up, right? Yeah. So they go back to their rooms, and we get our almost guaranteed boobage for an 80s film. Okay?
All right.
So Frank and Carissa. So Carissa's power, her psychic ability is that she's able to sense in a visceral way things that have happened in her location. So like if she lays in a bed, she can psychically feel everybody who's laid in that bed, things that have happened in the bed. So when she gets in that bed, she's like, 2 celebrities had sex in this bed. And she's like detailing it, right?
That's funny.
So then later, there's a scene where her and, what's his name, Frank?
Frank Forrester.
So Frank and Carissa there's a real nice sex scene. Shows her, great scene. There's a scene where she's also taking a sponge bath. So there's plenty of gratuitous
80s or
eye candy. Well, while they're doing it, she ties them up. Well, while that was going on, the puppet comes out. The puppet ends up killing.
It says that it crawls out of his casket, or one of them crawls out of his casket.
Out of
Neil's casket. Yeah.
There's several of them that come from everywhere.
Pinhead and another animated doll crawls out of Neil's casket.
Pinhead is like this brute that has a small head.
Yeah, like the old carnivals, like sideshows. They always had like a guy who was like had a little tiny head.
Okay. So he's one of them. There's another one who has like a sailor's hook and a hat and a ghostly face.
Oh, jeez.
There's another one who has like a cone, one that spins. That's like that you would think would be like used to cut diamond mines or something. That cut into diamond,
Yeah. A drill.
The drill kind of thing that he uses.
Man.
So that's 3 different ones. I think those are really the only 3 that are prominently in the movie.
Huh.
And so they kill Carissa.
Hi.
They kill Frank.
And
this is where it's Seth.
Right after they have sex.
Yeah, right.
So sex scene, you're out of the movie.
Then they're dead. And I take this back. There is another puppet. And so you think about the leeches, right? This is one of the most unwatchable, eerie things about the movie.
Yeah.
So this puppet throws up these leeches out of its mouth.
Oh, God.
Okay, so the leeches literally come out of the puppet's mouth onto Frank's belly. Because Frank is blindfolded.
And tied up.
So when he first feels like the leech is on him,
thinks it's her playing
with him. And so he's like, oh, you little, you're nasty.
And then it starts hurting.
And then he's like, yes, exactly. You can picture it without having seen it. So.
Oh, nice.
And so he ends up dying. They end up killing him too. And so now it's just the Yale professor and Megan and Dana. And so Dana, at one point, the Yale professor comes to her and she basically tells him to come. The Yale professor is like one of the things about it is that while the Carissa and Frank were having sex, there's a scene where the others can hear them. right?
Yeah.
Making a lot of noise. Well, while he's getting tortured and getting killed, he's screaming, he's making noises too. And the other guy's just like, oh my God. They still think it's part of the action, right?
Why don't they just shut up?
Exactly. So, what's the O's professor name? Alex. So, Alex goes to Megan's, check on her. And no, not Megan, Dana. Goes to Dana. And so Dana basically says, and she's always got booze in her hand too. So she likes the sauce. So she's basically, Alex tells her that, he can't go to sleep because so-and-so are doing this and that. And so she's like, well, maybe they're rearranging the walls. So then she tells him, well, maybe we can rearrange the walls. And he's like, nah, I don't think that's a good idea. Right? So Dana goes in herself where she ends up getting killed. I'm trying to remember.
And they're dropping like flies.
How they kill her. She goes in there. In every one of these scenes at this point, when she goes in, you see the first person puppet
running.
Moving here, exactly. Doing this, doing that.
Nice.
And they kill her. What do they stab her? Is it what's it called? She ends up getting killed by the puppets, but I don't remember.
Who is this? Dana? We're talking about.
Does she die in the elevator? I think maybe she may get out and into the elevator.
Well, I don't know. Apparently, you're way ahead of my thing. I didn't look up here.
Yeah, give us some background on some stuff. The reception.
The night they all go to their rooms, right? That's kind of telling them that Dana can tell fortunes and locate items. Alex can foresee the future in his dreams. Neil's researching alchemy, and with Frank's help, discovered that ancient Egyptians created a method of reanimating inanimate figurines. A power also discovered by Andrew Telon in the very first scene. He was the last true alchemist. But because Neil had not made contact with him in a while, Dana and the rest think he abandoned them and took whatever he was looking for himself. And they're there to take it and settle the score. That night, Teresa, the housekeeper, attends to the fire, is attacked by Pinhead with a poker, fulfilling Dana's fortune for her.
Yeah, Dana had told her earlier to stay away from the fireplace.
See, you should listen to the psychic that knows the future, I guess. Gallagher's body has been moved to the chair, which Megan finds, causing her to faint. Alex attends to her, while the others returned the body to the casket. Oh.
Yeah, so there's this recurring situation in which...
He keeps getting out of his casket?
Yes, he keeps getting out of his casket and being put somewhere, which is...
That's bad news. That's bad juju. Yes, so Carissa and Frank, who are having very loud sex and disrupting Alex and Dana's sleep. Two more puppets, the Tunneler and Leech Woman, enter.
Leech Woman, I told you, the one coming out of his mouth, and the Tunnel was the one I told you about the thing on his head.
Tunneler kills Carissa by drilling into her face. How is that scene?
Ew, very gory.
Okay, good. Well, that's what we want, man. When she inspects a noise coming from under the bed, she looks underneath the bed, Driller gets her, or Tunneler. Leech Woman vomits leeches onto Frank.
Seth,
yes.
I gotta tell you.
Okay, good.
While she's looking under the bed.
Yeah.
Frank is tied up, right? So they hear something, and so she's like, has to find what's going on. So she's looking under the bed, and the whole time Frank is like, untie me, and she's like, wait, Frank, something is in the room. It's this like quintessential 80s. She should have been like, you're right, Frank, let me untie you real quick because something's in here. She's like, no, Frank, I don't have time to untie you. I need to find out. I need to find out what's in this room, and then that's how she dies.
Oh man. Okay, so so then Leech Woman vomits leeches onto Frank, who is tied to the bed and drains his blood. Coming back from a walk, Dana finds Gallagher's body in her room and is attacked by Pinhead, who breaks her leg.
Yes.
Dana's leg gets broken.
But she's not dead yet. She's able to crawl out, and I want to say she gets into an elevator at some point.
Pinhead chases her and repeatedly strangles and punches her until she manages to knock him away and crawl to the elevator, only to have her throat cut by a blade.
From one of the other puppets that's in the movie. He has
fulfilling her fortune.
What was her fortune?
That her throat gets cut.
I think that may have been from the very early scene with at the carnival. She may have said something like that. Okay. But Yeah, so she gets killed. So
Yeah.
now it's just
Dana's
Alex
Yes, Alex is there.
and Megan.
And Alex is the one who can see dreams, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And he has several dreams of Megan dancing with
Tulum?
Neil.
Oh, Neil.
With Neil, I think it is.
Ooh.
And
They find a diary. It says that Megan wakes Alex up and shows him Andre Tulun's diary and tells him that Neil found Tulun's secret to reanimation.
yes, do recall.
Do you really?
No, I do. And the whole thing is that's what this Neil guy was after, because it would make him immortal.
Uh-huh.
Because he is dead, but the reanimation allows him to
Right.
relive and stay alive forever. And so that's what he is after.
Yeah. They get freaked out and they go downstairs, but then they find the bodies of Dana, Frank, and Carissa sitting around the dining table, accompanied by the newly resurrected Neil.
Oh,
because when he shows up.
Yes, what has happened is Neil has turned, so all the dead people are back at the dinner table, and they're like puppets themselves. They're puppets, but they're not animated yet.
Yes.
But they're set up to be puppets. They're made to look like dead puppets.
I gotcha. All right. So,
So then Megan tells Alex that there's something up. She wants to show him something.
Uh-huh.
She takes him upstairs, and this is where there's.
Well, Neil explains something though. He explains that he didn't commit suicide, but he uses Tulun's secrets to become reanimated himself in an effort to become immortal. Okay, you said that.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And then there's this point where something happens. I don't know if he disappears. I don't know what separates them. Because at that point, that's not like the ending. There's this part where Megan takes Kevin, who's already dreamt of this once before. Takes him upstairs.
So you think all these psychics would know that they're going to go to this place and die? Come on.
They're not very good psychics, for sure. They're not the best psychics, for one.
Man.
Definitely not the best psychics. And she takes him to this little ballroom area, or this room where they're like dancing. And again, this is where Neil comes, and then there's what can be described as just a Hollywood struggle where they're just fighting each other and punching, and the puppets get involved. The puppets are fighting them back and forth. Alex is getting completely dominated and beaten left and right. And at one point, Neil is saying things and then bashing the puppets to where the puppets turn on him.
Ooh.
Is that what it says?
His own creation.
His own creation. Look,
Yeah.
you'll find it there.
I know. I'm going to jump back before we actually finish this movie, though. I jumped forward to the trivia on IMDb or whatever, right?
Beautiful.
So, Pinhead, apparently he's punching somebody, right? He's beating him up. So Pinhead's fists during the punching scenes are actually the fists of dwarf stunt woman Cindy Sorensen, who had to wear the same fingerless gloves and sweater sleeves to make it appear that it was the fist of Pinhead. Cindy cited the most difficult part of these scenes was to keep her head ducked the whole time while holding the Pinhead puppet out on her shoulder and give off false punches at the same time.
So you telling me you telling me that this is not a doll animated? It was literally a small person,
just the fist
to make. Yeah.
So they couldn't have a little fake arms doing it. So they got a little. Got a little person.
It makes sense because when they're hit, those scenes of the arms moving are very, I know, eye-popping. Like it does appear to be something other than a prop, because it was actually some a human's arms, which was cool. That's some great trivia for those who are watching at home, who watched the movie.
Absolutely. The Bodega Bay Hotel, when they show the exterior scenes of it, did you notice that?
I can visualize it in my head right now.
It was a miniature. It was built about the size of a refrigerator, and they hung it in the air and did forced perspective to make it look like it was far away.
Genius.
So there you go. These are those shortcuts in the.
Seth, what year is that? Is that second or third year film school that you learn how to do that kind of stuff, you know?
Or, it's just in the mind of these B guys who actually do some really great stuff. And probably a lot of this stuff.
I'm going to go back and watch I'm going to go back and watch that scene, and I'm going to try to pick it out and be like, now I see it. That building is not even there, because when I watched it, there's probably 2 or 3 scenes in the movie where they show that perspective of the hotel close to the cliff.
Yeah.
And it never crossed my mind that it's all an illusion.
Huh.
So, where does the conclusion? This movie ends where...
So let's see. Let's jump back into that one real quick. Let's see. So pretty much everybody's dead except for
Alex and Megan,
right?
Neil's still alive, and they're going to have this epic battle royale.
Right, and he explains he didn't commit suicide, that he was trying to become immortal. He admits to killing Megan's parents, and expresses a disgust for the puppets, violently throwing Jester.
Yes.
So this is when the puppets get pissed off at him, hey? The other puppets see this attack and descend on Neil. Tunneler takes out his legs and Blade pins him down while Leech Woman vomits a leech into his mouth.
Yes, that scene, Seth. Listen, folks. That scene, I had to turn away a little bit because it is revolting. Because literally, there's this ugly leech that is crawling into his mouth, suffocating him. I mean, it's great B-movie horror, but you do not want to be eating while you're watching that scene.
No,
because it was
absolutely not.
And you know what's going on in this scene as it's happening? Neil's in the elevator. The elevator is closed, and for some reason, Alex is at the elevator, and he's like, no, like all of a sudden he wants to save Neil from getting a leech in his mouth. He's trying to help him at the very end. This guy was just beating my ass, punching me in the face over and over again.
Right.
And now he's like, no.
You really are my friend.
Yeah, like the director should have been like, that's not the direction.
Yes.
We need to find something for you to do in this scene, but it's not you trying to open it and save him, So that was a miss.
I love your take on that.
That was a miss. He said, because remember, we're reviewing this.
That's right.
This is a review. I have to be critical and give some feedback to the folks at home. That's what they're looking for.
Yeah. So after Leech Woman vomits a leech into his mouth, this is Neil. Pinhead finally breaks his neck. Neil is actually dead now, eh?
Yes.
The next day, Megan sees Alex off, and as she ascends the stairs, she brings Dana's stuffed dog back to life.
Yes, so we skipped over this minor detail, but Dana, throughout the movie, has this stuffed dog with her.
What a pleasant little prop there.
And
just to show that she's a weird lady,
I have no idea, but she within the movie, probably in about 2 or 3 different scenes, she's talking to it, and she has it there. So, yes, Megan at the end, I guess that leads you to be like that. Now has the ability to reanimate things. She's the puppet master now, and she brought this dog back to life.
Gotcha.
And then it ends.
Wow. No kidding. Yeah, and so that movie that you watched spurred 12 sequels. So now, I mean, do you keep going? You gotta check out at least. I
mean, if you've done 12, why don't you do 100?
Yeah. And so they're featured. So it's funny because it has a cast, right? Okay. And all the people we've talked about. Mm-hmm. There's, even Woman at a Carnival and David Boyd as Buddy, whoever the hell Buddy was. But below the cast, it has featured puppets.
Ooh, okay.
Featured puppets were Blade, the guy with this.
The Blade is the ghostly looking with the hook and the blade.
Gotcha. Jester
is this puppet that's got 3 different, like, his face is 3 different parts and it spins around.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, Pinhead, the big guy with the little head. Mm-hmm. Tunneler, the drill head guy. Leech Woman.
Okay.
And then Shredder Khan.
Shredder Khan, I think he only makes a scene in the first couple scenes. He is already animated.
Yeah.
So it shows the puppet master. He's tending to a puppet, and he's looking at Khan, and Khan is looking out the door. That's who alerts him that the Germans are coming. Khan sees them coming.
Gotcha. And then Gingy, whoever Gingy is. Oof. Who knows? Maybe a lesser known puppet that just sat in a corner or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe he was the one getting cleaned or something like that.
That's likely.
Yeah.
Seth, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Because I only have 6% fighting 5%.
This is how we roll here.
As we're talking, yes, as I'm talking, my percentage is going down, Seth. All right.
Well, good. I'm glad we got it done.
So we've done well. We're at 34 minutes. We might be able to get to about 36, 37. Woo! But I hope you enjoyed our review of Puppet Master. If you're lucky, folks, I think we may do 11 more. Maybe.
Yeah, why not? We'll carry this through the end of October or something.
How many Puppet Masters? How many Puppet Masters were there?
12.
So we have 11 more to do, and I think that's going to be. I've put that on the podcast bucket list.
All right.
We're going to do all 11. I just got to find a way to find these movies and to watch them. But folks at home, I hope you enjoyed it. Seth, Caylor, our guest, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Don't forget that this podcast is brought to you by Sage Choice Insurance Agency. You can give us a call any time of the day, 24/7 at 361-400-2411. We're having technical difficulties in my mouth. Now it's me dragging on here. Well, you can also go to quotefromjamin.com. Quotefromjamin.com sends us data, safe and secure, encrypted, and we get that information and we give you a quote and we save you money. And we have all the kinds of service, full service agency. I want to be your insurance guy. And if you're a realtor or a loan originator, I want to be your friend. Okay? Like really, your friend. We can be friends. Mm-hmm. And we can help each other in business. I can be the best referral partner that you've ever had. Jamin at Sage Choice Insurance. Give me a call, 361-400-2411. Folks at home, thanks for joining us again. 80s Horror Review. We're going to have some more up and coming sooner than later. Thanks again for joining us. Seth has... Don't stop. This is a late Easter egg, right? So if you've listened all the way through till this, here's what I want to ask you about your quote from Jamin.com. Yeah. Is there like a notes section? A quote or like, how did you forbid here? Because the first person that puts, I heard you on the podcast and I want to quote, we should give them something. We should give, I would give them $100 to be honest. If you go to quote from Jamin, you heard it here. If you go to quote from Jamin and in one of the fields of where you write stuff in, you just type in Jamin's Daily somehow. Your first name can be Jamin's Daily. There you go. And you submit it, $100 cash. Yep. All right. Legitimate, not family member, nothing like this. Yeah. We're looking stranger. For real listeners here. No, I want to mail a check to somebody in across the country. There you go. All right. So, thanks a lot, folks. Jamin's Daily. Stick with us because the best is.